everyone, Lakey here, and today I'm going to be ranking the Revolvers. This video was requested by a channel member, and if you would like to request a video, you can do so by clicking the big blue join button. So in this video, I'm going to rank the Revolvers. As I said, this was something I kind of planned to do, but just kind of put off in favor of making other videos. I will only be ranking the secondary Revolvers, as I feel like adding in the primary guns that are kind of like Revolvers would be a not really fair comparison given the different roles and ways that they play in the game. We also don't really have very many of them, so if it's the carbine type revolvers the channel member was referring to, I covered those briefly in my carbine ranking. So as always, we'll start from worst to best from the 6 revolvers that we have available in the secondary category. I would like to note that a poor ranking does not equate to the gun itself being bad. In fact, I feel like all these revolvers would make a good secondary, but some of course are better than others. And that is what this ranking video aims to discuss. So down at the bottom in the 6th spot, I have placed the MP412 Rex. This was kind of close as it's somewhat similar to the Mateba, being that they have rather similar values statistically. Most notably, the fire rate and base damage stats are fairly similar. The Rex, however, has a much worse reload time and worse damage range. The Rex has the worst reload time in the category at 4.4 seconds base reload time, not counting in the speed loader. On the upside though, the Rex does have higher walk speed at a value of 15, which is one higher than the other revolvers. And it's generally consistent with the other properties of the revolvers category where, even though it's not the best, it is still strong. Back when this revolver was one of the few in the game, it did impress more, but I feel like it has just been beaten out by the newer opposition. Next up in this 5th spot, as mentioned, I have the Mateba 6. This revolver just edges out the Rex in my opinion. These two revolvers aren't necessarily bad, but I feel like the others in the category are just a league ahead in my opinion. Like I said, this is similar to the Rex. Same suppression, penetration depth, muzzle velocity, shots to kill. But as I said for the Rex, the Mateba just shines more where it matters. After that, in the 4th spot, I have placed the Judge. And this is kind of hard to compare as it's really more like a shotgun, and I'm sure people maybe would have expected this to be higher up in the ranking. The statistics though do not cast this gun in a good light when compared to the other revolvers. In very few areas does the Judge impress statistically at all. It can be kind of deceiving though, as despite having the worst in class damage stats for example, this is per pellet. Even though there are areas like this for the Judge, it still doesn't have great range values and can only fire up to 5 shots before needing a reload instead of the typical number of 6 like what the other revolvers have. The fire rate is also below average, reload time is okay, and it has quite a bit of recoil and inaccuracy as well. It's a solid revolver, but not the greatest in my opinion. Next up, I have placed the Redhawk 44 here in the 3rd spot. I could understand interchanging this with the spot for the Judge. Even though the Redhawk does not seem to get the most attention out of the other revolvers, it does peak up above the average statistically many times. This revolver is well-rounded, but compared to the 1858 New Army and Executioner, I feel like those two revolvers just beat it out. While the stats are strong for the Redhawk, it generally has worse damage and range compared to the aforementioned revolvers. Overall, this is a solid revolver, but I can't really say that it beats out either above it. In the 2nd spot, I have placed the Executioner. This sluggish revolver lives up to its name and packs quite a punch. The strong base damage allows it to one-shot to both the head and the body, while also carrying good suppression, muzzle velocity, and penetration depth compared to the rest of revolvers. That one-shot to the body is something that the other revolvers don't really have, barring the Judge being a shotgun and the 1858 snake shot attachment. While the damage is good for this revolver, the damage range is on the lower side for the drop from the max damage value. Even then, the base damage and shots to kill are still just as strong, if not better than the other revolvers. The reload time for this revolver is the same as the Judge and is on the lower end for revolvers, but I feel like the other strong qualities of this gun make up for the weak links that it has in its low fire rate and okay reload time. Finally, in the 1st and best spot, I have placed the 1858 New Army revolver. This revolver is very well rounded and versatile, while the fire rate without fan fire does hinder it, it is impressive in pretty much all other areas. The muzzle velocity isn't really anything to write home about, it's the same as the Rex and the Mateba, but other than that, damage range, damage, reload time, accuracy, and shots to kill are all really strong areas for this weapon. I could understand the reasoning behind placing the Executioner here instead. That one definitely seems to be a community favorite as well. But overall, these are two very strong revolvers in more ways than not, and I don't know, I feel like the properties of the 1858 New Army being very strong put it above the Executioner. In nearly all the areas like I mentioned, the 1858 New Army is best in class, or at least up there as being pretty strong as it compares to the other revolvers. So that about sums up my revolver ranking for you. As always, I'd be curious to get your thoughts on the matter. Before I started this ranking, I didn't really expect to place some of the revolvers where I did. So what is your revolver ranking if you have one? Be sure to let me know in the comments. That's all I've got for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.